All right. So for our breath practice today, I've been listening to some podcasts that talk about. They're not specifically about breath, but I was listening to a podcast where the guest is he's a neurobiologist and he studies things like sleep and how people perform during states of emotional arousal and fear and anxiety and peak performance. And he briefly mentioned breath practice, and I, as a yoga teacher and as a breath practice practitioner, and that is, I would include you in that as well now. That got me really stoked because it's cool to hear people looking at the science of breath regulation from kind of an academic and research-based standpoint. And so it kind of got me thinking about maybe starting to use our breath practice not to calm ourselves and calm our joints and muscles and our heart rate here at the beginning of practice, but what would it look like to use our breath to agitate ourselves and maybe build some heat and build some energy here at the beginning of practice, when we could use a little bit of a ramping up of energy, and then using our breath practice for the reverse at the tail end of our practice. And so I've talked about this before, you've probably heard me mention this, but that when you breathe, you have an inhale, you have an exhale, and that generally speaking, the inhale stimulates the sympathetic nervous system. And so that's what sparks, that's like hitting the accelerator, and that's what causes the heart to beat faster. And then on the exhale is what causes the heart to beat more slowly. And so with the inhale and the exhale and the inhale and the exhale all day long, you are hitting the accelerator and the brake, the accelerator and the brake. You're up regulating, you're down regulating, you're up regulating, you're down regulating. And when you know that about the breath, you can start to hack that and you can start to use that to your benefit. And it makes you realize that when you sigh, when you perform that long exhale, that long exhalation of breath, your body's doing that instinctively to calm you down. Or after something that was scary, after something that was difficult, when you walk into your house after a long day and you go, that's not a cultural lesson that you learned from your parents or from movies. That's your body responding to that feeling of now I can relax. And what does it do immediately? It exhales, because the exhale is connected with the down regulation of the metabolic system, the down regulation of heart rate, the down regulation of the stress hormones into the more relaxation hormones. And if that's true, then the inhale can be used for upregulation, for stimulating the energy. And so for our breath practice today here at the beginning of practice, you might be on your back, and you can do this on your back, or if you want to move to seated or to a kneeling position, then I invite you to do that. I'm going to do mine kneeling on the mat. But what we're going to do is pretty basic. If we focus on the exhale during when we want to slow it down, then we're just going to reverse it and we're going to focus on the inhale to start to speed things up. And so I'm going to place my hands on my belly. So whether you're laying down, seated, or kneeling, you can place your hands on the belly. And then all together, let's take a quick, full, fast inhale. And then exhale, let it go. Now we're going to start to lengthen the inhale, and I don't care so much about the exhale. So just have, when you exhale, just kind of like you're opening up a balloon, just let it all out, all right? So inhale for 3, 2, 1, exhale. Inhale for 3, 2, 1, exhale. Inhale, 3, 2, 1, exhale. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1, exhale. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1, exhale. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, exhale. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, exhale. Inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. We'll go back down. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. And inhale, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Inhale, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Nice. Go ahead and just allow your breath to take on a more natural, even pacing and rhythm. Nice job. So thanks for humoring me and just trying that out. And maybe notice for a moment as you take it through a few more rounds of breath, notice the sensations of the breath. Notice how that felt in your joints, your muscles as you started to, it probably took a little bit more effort in the belly, in the diaphragm to really extend and expand that inhale. And how did that feel? How's your heart rate? How does that impact the processes in your body that are stimulated by the breath? Okay. Let's everyone bring it up to a seated position. So go ahead and sit cross-legged. So comfortable seated position. By the way, you can always, you can sit on a block, you can sit on a couch pillow. If sitting on the floor is not comfortable for you, we're going to do some side bending and some forward bending and some rotating here in this seated position. So we're going to use this to start to warm up our spine in the 3 planes of movement. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Complete inhales, complete exhales. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. We'll go side to side. Inhale. And on the exhale, plant your right hand alongside your right hip. So I'm mirroring you. Exhale up and over. Inhale back to center. Exhale up and over to your left. Inhale back to center. Exhale up and over to your right. Inhale back to center. Exhale up and over to the left. Inhale back to center. And then just float the hands back down to the knees, and you can use them for support on the knees as you take it through a few rounds of seated cat-cow. So the way I like to do this is I like to draw the sternum forward, squeeze the shoulder blades together behind me, and then exhale, round the spine, tucking the chin to the chest, looking toward the earth. Inhale as you draw the sternum forward, and you can't really see it from the front, but basically it looks like you're sliding the whole rib cage forward to the degree that you can today, that's comfortable today. And as you exhale, round the spine, slouching into that rounded shape. Inhale, draw the sternum forward, squeeze the shoulder blades together, maybe even tilt your chin up toward the sky. Exhale, round the spine, let the chin fall toward the chest. Full range of motion, take it through your own rounds of breath, maybe 3 or 4 full rounds of breath, forward, backward flexion of the spine right here. And as we were paying particular attention to the inhale in our breath work at the beginning of practice, maybe you can keep that going. Pay particular attention to the inhale. All right, next we're going to use, I'm going to come back to facing you so I can talk about right and left. We're going to take some rotations here. And so inhale, bring both arms overhead. And on the exhale, I want you to turn toward your right and drop the arms in line with the shoulders, turning to your right. And you're not using the floor or your knees just yet to crank into this twist. You're using the muscles along your spine to rotate into this twist. Inhale, bring it back to center. Exhale, twist to your left. Inhale, bring it back to center. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale back to center. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale back to center. Exhale, twist to the right. And this time, drop the hand behind you, drop the hand onto the knee. Find just a natural supporting point for your two hands as you gently encourage your shoulders and your spine into the twist. Now inhale, bring it back to center. Other side, exhale, twisting to your left, and just float the hand down to a point on the floor, a point on the knee that is comfortable for you to kind of help encourage you into this twist. All right, inhale, bring it back to center. And on the exhale, any way that's comfortable for you, bring the legs around behind you, coming into tabletop. All right, shift the body weight, curl the back toes under, shift the body weight back onto the balls of the feet. Look at your hands, spread the fingers nice and wide, straighten up the elbows. Just a quick conversation about rotation in the wrists, the shoulders, because I haven't talked about it in a while. Anytime you are going back to downward facing dog, the idea is that you want to create a slight external rotation in the shoulders, and the way you do that is by rotating the insides of the elbows forward. And so if you've ever had blood drawn on the inside of your elbows, that's the part I want you to turn toward the front of your mat. And it doesn't mean you're turning your hands out. So you want to keep your hands still parallel with each other. And the way you would know that is if as you're looking at your wrist, the creases of your wrist are going to be parallel with the top of the mat. And so your wrists are square with your body. It's the shoulders that you're rotating forward, and there is a little bit of rotational ability in the wrist, the shoulders, and particularly in the wrist. And so as you start to build that, flexibility in the rotation, it'll get easier and easier. Okay, so take an inhale, and on the exhale, straighten the legs, lift the hips, take it back to downward facing dog, and start to pedal the feet right, left, right, left. Press one heel, then the other into the earth. Breathe into the backs of the legs. All right. All right, let's flow from downward facing dog to plank here for a few breaths. So drop the hips in line with the shoulders, top of the push-up. Take an inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, forward to plank. Paying particular attention to that inhale again. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, forward to plank. Nice, long, complete inhales. Exhale, downward facing dog. One more time, inhale, forward to plank. And this time with control, lower all the way to the mat. Elbows shaving the ribs, uncurl the toes. Inhale, cobra, gaze is forward, neck is long. Exhale, chin back down. Let's do two more. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, chin back down. Active in the upper back. Inhale, cobra, gaze is forward. Exhale, chin back down. Curl the toes under, press it back to downward facing dog. Let's take it through that same little flow again. So with the breath, we'll go back and forth from plank to downward facing dog, and then we'll lower and take 3 cobras, and then we'll take it back to downward facing dog. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, forward to plank. Downward facing dog. Inhale, forward to plank. On the exhale, lower. 3 cobras. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. One more time all the way through. Inhale, plank. Downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Fire up the core. Lower with control. Cobra, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last time, inhale. And press it back to child's pose on the exhale. So we're taking some body weight off of the arms. Have your forehead on the mat, have your arms reaching forward on the mat, or you can have them down by your sides. If you want to take any or all sensation out of the arms, just pause for a moment. Maybe in child's pose, you can take a moment to roll out your wrists. Since we did a fair amount of wrist work right off the bat from the beginning. All right, press the palms into the earth, take an inhale, and on the exhale, take it back to downward facing dog. Okay, let's work on our legs, our hips here. So look back at your feet, step your feet pretty wide, about mat width apart. So we're going into a squat. Walk the hands back toward the heel or toward the feet, keep the heels on the earth. And I like to keep my hands on the earth grounded. Inhale as you lower the hips below the level of the knees. Use the elbows to drive the knees out to the side. So sink down into this nice low, low squat, and we're going to flow with our breath. Take an inhale. Exhale into a forward fold. Lift the hips. Inhale into the squat. Exhale into that forward fold. Inhale into the squat. Exhale into that forward fold. Inhale into the squat. And then walk it out to a plank. You can keep the feet wide or you can step them together. And we're going to take it through a side plank on each side. And so shift your body weight to your left hand, reach the right fingertips up toward the sky, right back to a high plank, back to center, not spending a lot of time here. Left side, reach the left fingertips up toward the sky and bring it back to center. Look back at your feet, walk your hands back toward your feet, and you're all set up for that squat flow again. If you're not set up for it, step your feet pretty wide on the mat again. Inhale into the bottom of the squat. Exhale into the fold. Inhale into the bottom of the squat. Exhale into the fold. Inhale into the bottom of the squat. Exhale into the fold. Inhale into the squat to prepare. Walk it forward to a high plank. Fire up the core. Side plank to the right. Back to center. Side plank to the left. Back to center. Walk the hands back to that squat stance. And we're going to take it through one more time. Body weights in the heels. Inhale into the bottom of the squat. Drive the knees out. Exhale into the fold. Inhale into the squat. Exhale into the fold. Inhale into the squat. Exhale into the fold. Inhale into the squat and walk it forward to a high plank. Prepare your core for side plank to the right. Press into the earth with that left arm. Back to center. Side plank to the left. Pressing into the earth with the right hand. And bring it back to center. And go ahead and walk your feet back to center and walk them forward to meet the hands, coming into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. All right, so stand in stillness for the next few breaths. We did a lot of breathing and moving and flowing here in the beginning to start to warm the joints and muscles. And so maybe relax the hands down by your sides, palms forward, and continue that rotation across the shoulders here. Nice proud chest, wide across the chest. Squeeze the shoulder blades together behind the back as you also soften the shoulders toward the earth. Pull that breath into the belly. So with what you know about breath, knowing that the inhale stimulates your activity and the exhale down regulates your activity, Maybe ask yourself what you want to use your breath for in this moment. Do you want to use your breath to maintain and continue to build some momentum and some heat in your body? Or do you want to use your breath to create a little bit of an oasis of calm here? And that's always an option that you have available to you. And I don't even have to tell you when and how and why to do that. You know what is always accessible to you and what to try at any given time. All right, inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step it back to plank. Take it through a flow. So for this first one, I'm going to lower all the way to the mat. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. 2 long, slow breaths in downward facing dog. Glance up at the hands. Walk your feet forward to the top of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand. Sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. One more time, all the way through a standard sun salutation. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step it back to plank. Take it through a flow. Glance up at the hands. Walk, step, or float your feet to the top of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand. Sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Okay, I want to talk for just a moment about something that you might hear me say sometimes in classes, or something that you might hear a teacher, any yoga teacher say in a class, where you'll hear them say, walk, step, or float your feet to the top of the mat. And today might be a good day to just like take a moment to look at what that means and maybe try that if you've never tried it before, especially if you have a little bit of a mental block about jumping, because it's not as scary as you might be making it in your head, and it can be really empowering, and it also can be really energizing. Jumping, leaving the ground with both feet and landing with both feet can be a fairly energizing activity. And since we're here on Sweaty Friday, so today is the day to give that a try. And so we're going to take it through another just basic sun salutation, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to float from forward fold into chaturanga, and then also float from downward facing dog back up into a forward fold. And we'll talk a little bit about it as we move through it. So here we go. From the top of the mat, inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, soft bend in the knees, plant the hands. All right, now what you're going to do is you're not going to jump back to a high plank with your arms straight. I want you to jump back to a plank with a bend in the elbows. And so anytime they say jump back, it's not back to plank, it's back to chaturanga, but I'm not going to put that like level of requirement on you today. So try hopping both feet back and landing with your elbows bent like this. All right, so just give it a try. Maybe you just hop it back and you land with one foot, and maybe it's ugly, maybe it's pretty, but you know, it's worth trying. All right, now take it through a flow. Inhale for a little back bend, your choice. Exhale for downward facing dog. Okay, so 2 breaths in downward facing dog. Now you have the opportunity to do that same little hop in reverse. And the way this is going to go, or the secret to hopping from downward facing dog forward into the forward fold, is all about starting with a bend in the knees and picking the heels off the earth. So already I've primed myself to hop forward. And also don't feel like you need to hop all the way to your hands. So release yourself from that expectation that you need to hop to the top of the mat. Maybe you just hop a couple feet forward. So from downward facing dog with the knees bent, with the heels lifted, try hopping even just a couple inches forward. Hop it forward, and then maybe you walk it the rest of the way. There's your hop, that's your float into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. So now for the rest of our practice today, I'm going to challenge you to just try floating back or floating forward or both. Anytime we take it through a flow, it's worth trying, and it's one of those things that you will get better at every time you practice and every time you kind of work it out in your body. It's fun. All right, so from the top of the mat, let's take it through a couple dancing warrior flows. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, try floating it back. Take it through a flow. Two breaths in downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg. Exhale, step it through next to the right thumb. Keep the back heel lifted. Inhale, rise for crescent lunge. Exhale, warrior two. Spin the back heel down. Arms are in line with shoulders. Gaze is forward. Flip the right palm up. Inhale, reach forward. Exhale, reverse warrior. Gaze goes up. Keep that knee bend in the front knee. Inhale, back to warrior two. Exhale, circle the hands to the earth. Step it back to plank. Take it through a flow. Two long, slow breaths in downward facing dog. Left side. Inhale, lift the left leg. Exhale, step it through next to the left thumb. Establish your foundation, your balance. Inhale, rise for crescent lunge. Warrior two on the exhale. Flip the left palm up. Inhale, reach forward. Exhale, reverse warrior. Gaze goes up. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, circle the hands to the earth. Step it back to plank. Take it through a flow. Two breaths in downward facing dog. And at the end of that exhale, walk, step, or float your feet to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Did you try floating? I hope you did. All right, so here from the top of the mat again. Let's take it again through another set round of dancing warrior flow. Using our breath to warm our joints and muscles right here. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the earth. Take it through a flow. Right leg, inhale. Exhale, step it through. Crescent lunge, inhale. Warrior two. Flip the right palm up, inhale. Reverse warrior. Warrior two, inhale. Exhale. Left side, inhale. Exhale. Crescent lunge, inhale. Warrior two, exhale. Put the left palm up, inhale. Reverse warrior. Warrior two, inhale. Circle the hands. At the end of the second exhale, bend the knees, lift the heels off the mat, gaze is forward, take a little hop, float it forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. One little cue or one little tip that I thought of that might help you as you're floating from downward facing dog forward to the top of the mat is that if you are looking at your hands, you probably won't hop all the way forward to your hands. If you look way past your hands, if you look at the top of the mat or even on the floor a few inches in front of the top of the mat, then your feet will perhaps make it all the way forward to your hands. But having said that, it's not necessarily even the goal to make it to your hands. If you just want to try hopping a couple inches forward, if you want to take 2 hops, you can. This is really just all about maybe trying something new, trying something that's a little bit more energizing, a little bit more, a little bit new and different today. All right, back to the top of the mat. We're going to take it into our hamstrings here. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the earth, take it through a flow. All right, inhale, lift the right leg. Exhale, step it through next to the right thumb. And now we're going to flow back and forth from this grounded lunge into kind of a pyramid pose, but with a floating heel. So really starting to get into that right hamstring and a little bit of a dynamic stretch here. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And this is in preparation for a more intense hamstring oriented balancing pose, balancing sequence that we're going to do later. So take an inhale. Exhale. Roll that right leg towards straight. It doesn't have to be able to straighten all the way. Inhale, front knee over the front ankle. Exhale, roll it towards straight. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, plant the hands, step it back to plank, take it through a flow, or you can skip it. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. Left leg, inhale. Exhale, step it through. Establish that foundation, that balance with your hands on either side of that front foot. Take an inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And take it away on your own rounds of breath, on your own time. All right, on the next inhale, plant the palms, step it back to plank, take it through a flow. At the end of that exhale, glance up at the hands, walk, step, or float your feet to the top of the mat. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. All right, so as promised, we've got a little bit of a balancing sequence that we will be working on here from the top of the mat. I'm going to talk us through it, and then we might try to make it through a couple times, see how we like it. Shift your body weight to your left leg, bring the right knee up in line with the hip. And as we do with a balancing pose, check in with that standing leg. Spread the toes nice and wide, press them into the earth, press the heel down. Check in with any wobble from right to left, front to back. Grow your roots out the sole of that foot. All right, now we did something called scales last week, and so we're going to incorporate a little bit of that into this balancing sequence. And so with your left leg nice and strong and straight, Inhale, arms overhead, and can you straighten that right leg any amount at hip height is the goal with the foot flexed. Take an inhale. And then on the exhale, bend that right knee, and can you reach back and grab hold of the big toe side of your foot. All right, so grab hold of the big toe side of your foot, and the way you'll do that is by having the palm facing in toward the big toe side. All right, and so there's two ways to grab hold of the back of your foot. One way is on the pinky side, and the other way is on the big toe side. And so make sure you're grabbing the big toe side, because that's important, because we're going to transition into the beginning of dancer. All right, so reach the left fingertips up toward the sky, and as you do, start to kick that right foot into the right hand. Stay standing upright though. Don't tip forward just yet. We're just kind of getting started with what this pose feels like, because there's a little bit of a back bend in the upper back, also a stretch in the quadricep. Also, it goes without saying, there's balancing involved in this. All right, so go ahead and just come on right out of it the way you came into it, with control. Arms overhead. Can you kick into that scale, lifting that right leg any amount? And now again on the exhale, without placing the right foot down, can you hinge forward into warrior three this time? All right, so the left standing leg is still straight and strong. That right leg is kicked straight out behind you. Really active and warm in that left hamstring. Have the back foot flexed. Now take an inhale, reach both arms forward toward the front. And on the exhale, can you float the hands toward the earth? The upper body goes down, the leg floats high, coming into standing splits. Those of you who are super duper bendy can make an actual vertical split with your legs. I cannot, but just imagine that you can kick your right leg toward the sky as your upper body is hinged down over that left standing leg. Take an inhale. And exhale, float that right foot back down toward the earth into a forward fold. And now step the feet about hip distance apart. Take a soft bend in the knees, grab opposite elbows, and gently sway side to side. Nice job. It takes a lot of concentration. Okay, release the elbows. Come on back up to standing. And shake the arms, shake the legs out. We're going to do the same sequence on the other side. So shift all of your body weight to the right leg. Bring the left knee up in line with hip. All right, so this is just always where it starts. So ground into the toes of that right foot. And have the left foot flex. And so we're nice and strong in the standing leg, hips are level. It always helps when you're balancing to pick a point out in front of you that's not moving. I realize that when you're moving while balancing, that's not always the easiest thing to do, but remember that. If ever you find yourself starting to fall off balance in a balancing pose, what are you looking at? What did you get distracted by? What did your eyes get distracted by? Chances are your gaze got pulled away, and that caused you to fall off balance. All right, inhale, arms overhead. Can you straighten that left leg any amount? Lift it really high. And on the exhale, on the exhale, bring that left arm around behind you. Catch that left big toe side of the foot. Find your balance first. Take an inhale. And on the exhale, start to kick into that left hand. All right, check in with your standing leg again. Make sure it's nice and straight. Don't tip forward in the upper body just yet. We're just starting to build a little bit of that back bend in the upper back. Kicking into the hand. Still reach the right arm toward the sky. On the next inhale, unwind back into the scale. Lift the left leg, that standing leg, raise, arms overhead. Take an inhale. And on the exhale, hinge forward into warrior three. Hands at heart center. Standing leg is straight. Super controlled. Hips and shoulders are level with the earth here in warrior three. Take an inhale. And on the exhale, float the hands toward the earth, or a block, by the way. Your standing leg is straight. Your left leg is floating toward the sky as your upper body floats toward the earth. Take an inhale, and on the exhale, release it into a forward fold. Step your feet about hip distance apart, soft bend in the knees, grab opposite elbows. Whew. And gently sway side to side. So I know on that first time through that sequence, you're definitely still kind of learning the postures themselves. So we're going to go through that same sequence exactly like that one more time, because this time it'll feel a little bit more familiar. It won't feel so much like uncharted territory. And you might be able to start to explore some of the balancing poses, some of the cues that I give you, and maybe start to explore what it feels like to actually be comfortable in some of these poses. All right, so come on back up to standing. We're gonna go into the right side again. So shift your body weight to your left leg. Left leg, pick up the right leg. Right knee is in line with the hip. Okay, so get nice and comfortable with your balance again. And start with a standing leg raise. So inhale, arms overhead, kick that right leg straight. And then with control, float the right arm and the right leg behind the body for dancer pose. Again, check in with the standing leg, still nice and straight. Take an inhale. And on the exhale, start to kick into that right hand, kicking toward the sky, but still find that lift through the crown of the head and the left arm. You're not just tilting forward. On the next inhale, with control, release back out of it into a standing leg raise. Kick the right leg straight. And exhale into warrior three. Stay for the inhale. Standing splits on the exhale. Stay for the inhale. Forward fold on the exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. That wasn't so bad. All right, shift all of your body weight to your right leg. Bring the left knee up in line with hip. Check in with your standing leg for a moment. Get all those wobbles out of the way. Inhale, arms overhead, kick that left leg straight. Exhale, swing the left leg around behind you. Stay for the inhale. And exhale, start to kick into that left hand. Dancer pose. On the next inhale, with control, bring that left leg back forward, standing leg raise. Warrior three on the exhale. Both legs are straight. Left leg is kicked back in line with the hip. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, standing splits. On the next exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Awesome. We're going to take it through more of a warrior-based vinyasa flow just to maybe break up the pain and suffering of a balancing sequence like that. So come on back to the top of the mat. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the earth, step it back or float it back to plank. Take it through a flow. Inhale, lift the right leg. Exhale, step it through next to the right thumb. Crescent lunge on the inhale, find your balance. Warrior two on the exhale. Flip the right palm up, inhale, reach forward. Exhale, reverse warrior. Inhale, warrior two. Now straighten the right front leg. We're going to take it into triangle pose. So your right knee is straight, your left knee is straight. Arms are in line with shoulders. Inhale as you reach the right fingertips forward toward the front. Exhale as you tip the arms perpendicular with the floor. So keep sliding the tailbone back toward the wall behind you as you lengthen the crown of the head forward. Anytime you're in triangle pose, if ever the upper arm is super tired because of what you've been up to with your arms, or if it's just distracting you, you can always just float the hands down to the hip. You're still getting the benefits of triangle pose with the legs, that hamstring stretch. You're just taking out some of the complexity by just removing the arms from that situation. So that's always an option for you. Take one more inhale. And regardless of what you did with your upper arm, on the exhale, circle the left hand to the earth, rebend that front knee, situate your arms to step it back to plank and take it through a flow. Left side, inhale, lift the left leg. Exhale, step it through. Crescent lunge on the inhale. Warrior two on the exhale. Put the left palm up, inhale, reach forward. Exhale, reverse warrior. Warrior two on the inhale. Straighten the left front leg. Check that both knees are straight. Reach the left fingertips forward, and on the exhale, triangle pose. Remember to breathe. And if you want to float that upper hand down, that is awesome. Do whatever feels really great for you today. And on the next inhale, circle the hand to the earth, rebend that front knee. Situate your hand, step it back to plank, take it through a flow. At the end of that exhale, rebend the knees, lift the heels off the earth, look up at the top of your mat or beyond, and float it forward to a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Okay, last thing, we're going to take it through that exact same balancing sequence because we've given it a chance to rest a little bit in your brain. And so I want to give you one more opportunity to maybe try some of those balancing poses. And then as soon as we're done with that, we're going to have a seat on the mat and hit some mat stretching. So right here at the top of the mat, shift all of your body weight to your left foot, right knee up in line with hip. All right, so establish your balance here. Just check in here. And then start with a standing leg raise. Inhale, kick that right leg straight, arms overhead. Exhale, bend that right leg, bring it around to dancer pose. Grab hold of the big toe. Take an inhale. And on the exhale, kick into that right hand. And this time, if you want to try dropping the left arm in line with the shoulder until the spine lowers perpendicular with the earth as you're still kicking into the hand. So this is the full expression of dancer pose. Check in with your standing leg, make sure it's nice and straight. Use the kick in the foot to bring yourself back up out of it. Release the foot. Inhale back into the standing leg raise. Exhale, warrior three, hands to heart center. Take an inhale. Standing splits on the exhale. If you've done standing splits before and you're really comfortable with it, you might try wrapping one or both hands around your standing calf muscle. And then eventually, the full expression of standing split would be to have your face, your upper body folded against your left standing leg. And so your face would be on your shin, which sounds crazy to me. Take an inhale. And on the exhale, forward fold. Nice job. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull your hands to heart center. Other side, shift all of your body weight to your right leg. Left knee up in line with the hip. Establish your balance. Arms overhead on the inhale, standing leg raise, building strength in that left hip flexor. Exhale as you swing the left arm, left leg behind you. Grab hold of the big toe side of the foot. Inhale as you reach the right fingertips up toward the sky. Exhale as you kick into the hand. And maybe continue finding that lift, or if you want to, hinge at the hip and tip your upper body down, which will allow your leg to rise even more. Kicking up over the middle of the body. Your standing leg is straight, gaze is forward, laser sharp. Inhale, use the kick to come back out of it with control. Make sure you focus. Release the foot, arms overhead. Straighten the left leg, standing leg raise. Exhale into warrior three. Good thing I've got a wall next to me. Standing leg is straight. Take an inhale. And exhale into standing splits. Upper body goes down, leg floats high. Take an inhale. And exhale into a forward fold. Nice. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step or float it back to plank. Take it through flow. All right, lower both knees to the earth and have the knees together, knees and ankles together. Settle the tailbone back toward the hips. All right, start with a child's pose that's supportive of the low back here. And now here at this point in practice, at the end, when you know that you're preparing for Shavasana, when you know you're over the hardest, most intense, demanding part of your practice, now is a great time to start to use those breath tools that you know are there and start to shift your focus away from the inhale and into the exhale. So can you increase the volume? Can you increase the length? Can you increase the quality of the exhale this time? Blow off that CO2 and start to slow your internal systems down the same way you're slowing your joints and muscles down. All right, come on back to a kneeling position. Come into tabletop. And just pick up the right foot and step it forward outside the right pinky. And then you can keep both hands on the earth here. My intention here is to get a nice stretch in the left hip flexor, just to give the hamstring a break, but also because we started to hit on that with the standing leg raises. And so you could keep your hands propped on the earth, or if you want to try propping up onto that right knee, what's most important here is that you feel a stretch in that left hip flexor. And so think about tucking the tailbone under, maybe to access a little bit more of that hip flexor, that it's not so much about the low back, that it's about pulling that stretch into the quadricep, hip flexor, everything that's going on in the left hip. And breathe. Okay, so let's go ahead and come out of it the way we came into it. Just step that right knee back, step the left knee forward, and then find the same stretch, the same expression on this side as you did on the other side. So you might have your hands down on the earth. You might climb up onto your left knee here for support. All right, go ahead and place the hands back on the earth. Step it back to tabletop. And take it through just a couple rounds of cat-cow here. So inhale, lengthen the sternum forward, gaze goes up. Exhale, round the spine, tucking the chin to the chest. Take it on your own time, on your own pace. If you want to move slowly, slowly as you possibly can, then please feel free. This is the last thing we're going to do before moving into our final resting pose. And so take your time. All right, go ahead and bring the legs around in front of you. Lie down on your back, and you could go right into total stillness, or sometimes it's really nice to just windshield wiper the legs for a moment. So I like to do this. I like to walk my feet back up toward my hips and bend the knees, and then just drop the knees off to the right, to the left. It's just a nice last mobilization of the hips, of the femurs in their sockets. Pay particular attention to your exhales here. And then slowly make your way into your final resting pose. And I know that we are right up at 1 o'clock, and so I'm only going to have us here for a minute, and then I'll close us out so everyone can get on with their day. Shavasana. And slowly begin to reawaken the body. Wiggle the fingers, the toes, roll out the wrists, the ankles. Reach the arms overhead toward the back, point the toes toward the front. Take a deep breath and a full body stretch from fingers to toes and everything in between. And then on the exhale, roll over to the right side. Slowly make your way back up to a comfortable seated position, whatever that looks like to you. And then just for a moment, find stillness. Lightly rest your hands on your knees, close your eyes, turn that gaze inward. There's so many layers with which we can experience and interact with the world. We have our sensations, things, the information that we bring in through our senses, our perceptions, the way we understand those sensations, our feelings, our thoughts, the way we process that information, and then finally our action. And that gap in between our thoughts and our actions, that gap in between what we take in and how we respond, that gap in between stimulus and response is where we have the power to choose. It is where we have the power to react or respond. And in that gap, as Viktor Frankl writes, we find our freedom and our growth. And so for the rest of the day and into the weekend and into next week and into the foreseeable future, I invite you to get really curious about that gap between your stimulus and your response. Remember that you always have the power to choose. And that as you become more practiced in the power of choosing, that is growth. That is freedom. On the next inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Thank you for allowing me to guide you through your practice. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.